Employee recognition is an incredibly important part in any workplace. And in fact, a recent survey by OC Tanner found that 37% of employees claim that employee recognition is the number one driver for producing great work. I'm Skye Schooley, a staff writer with business.com, and today I'm joined by Larry Dunivan, the CEO of the HR software company, Namely, to talk about how and why your organization should make employee recognition meaningful for your employees. Hi, Larry. Thank you so much for being here today to talk with me about employee recognition in the workplace. Why is employee recognition so important?
Well, I think that, there's two dimensions to it. One is, of course, everybody wants to hear someone say they're doing a good job. But for me, the most important thing about recognition is making sure you do it in the way people like to be recognized. So for me, it's always about, some people want to be on a big stage with 100 people cheering for them. Other people, that's like the last thing they want. And a handwritten note is phenomenally powerful. But at any place, at any time, and especially in 2022, making people know they're wanted and valued has never been more important.
Great. And so what are the benefits of employee recognition? This could be either for the employer or the employee.
Yeah, I think obviously there's very clear correlations between recognition and employee engagement. And, best in class companies are measuring employee engagement, quarterly. Sometimes they even do these, pulse checks on a monthly basis. And it's a really good metric to kind of assess the health of the culture. And every good company is monitoring employees' feelings about the work environment. One element of that being, being recognition. And so it definitely impacts engagement, which almost certainly impacts retention from the employer side. And, and for the employee, it just makes people feel good. And it's just the right thing to do. I don't know, it's maybe oversimplified, but.
So I know you had kind of touched on this when I asked the first question, but how can you make employee recognition meaningful to the employee?
Yeah, as I said, first and foremost, do it in a context that they prefer to be recognized. And by the way, people often intuitively think money applies to everyone. And it's funny, my daughter manages a team of consultants, and she was, she had been giving this person all kinds of recognition, and he resigned, and she tried to save him. And the way she saved him was not with money, but with empathy and understanding and hearing his concerns and then taking action. Not quite recognition, but, it's all about what you do with engagement and then authenticity. And often, those kinds of recognition moments that demonstrate empathy are hugely powerful. A lot of people just jump to gift certificates or flowers or money, and oftentimes that's the last thing someone might want. Now, there are plenty of people, let's be clear, who, a few $100 goes a long way too. But I think it's context that's the most important about recognition.
Great. And so to kind of go into the next question here, what are some of the best ways you can recognize employees in addition to money per se?
Yeah, one of the things that we use swag, wearing some today. People love that stuff. And it's funny because, a lot of companies like ours have a lot of swag. But what we did was our most recent awards and recognition program for the first 6 months was nothing but swag, meaning you'd get these points into an account, you could use them to purchase swag, and really nice stuff. Like, this is a champion one, it's not gonna pill, it's not gonna fall apart. And you just feel good when you're wearing it. So it's a kind of a gift that keeps on giving. But then recently, we've been doing that for about a year. So then we transitioned it and we broadened the way people could use those recognition points to gift cards and some other things. And I think that that's a really effective way to take, a framework and then let it morph and evolve over time, as people give you feedback on what's working and what isn't.
So before we wrap up here today, do you have any final advice on just employee recognition in general, or how to create or structure an employee recognition program?
I always say this whenever I talk about this kind of stuff. It starts at the top. So, what happens in a lot of companies is the CEO will be like, oh, we should have something, and then, delegates it to the HR leader to figure out. Or the reverse happens. HR comes up and says, listen, I think we really need to do this. And, and some CEOs either won't make it a priority or see that it has value. But the most powerful way you can do recognition is when it starts at the top. You know, every employee that's with us for 5 years or more gets a note from me every year. I do that. I choose to do that. Something that's authentic and meaningful from the CEO, along with, you know, some of these more programmatic things, I think are the right combination.
Well, unless you had anything else, that was all that we had for today.
Great. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.